Okay, so today I have the group of 6 students where I have Isha, Manjila, Sudiksha, Ganesh, Drishti and Sunshine. And today's topic is Global Sustainable Development and CSR. I would like to welcome you in this SLS. First of all, let us start this SLS with our own introduction, and let me introduce myself. I am Meena Khanal, the tutor of Corporate Social Responsibility. The code number is 3001. Now start your introduction, please. Isha,
Good morning.
Okay,
Good morning.
Ganesh, you start.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ganesh Tangal, and my UN ID is 19436741.
Okay. Next.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Isha Pokhrel, and my UN ID is 19436734.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sudiksha Tuladar, and my student ID is 19436736.
Next.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Manjila Khanal, and my UN ID is 19436745.
Next. Next.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rishi Casey, and my student ID is 19436743.
And now.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sunshine Rai, and my UN ID is 19436738.
So now let us start our SLS. The topic is CSR and Global Sustainable Development. I wish you all of you good luck.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to begin the seminar with the introduction. The topic for today's debate is corporate social responsibility and global sustainability. So I would like to start the seminar by talking briefly on CSR and sustainability. According to the Carroll CSR pyramid, CSR activity is not only associated with philanthropic responsibility, but it has also got economic responsibility, legal responsibility, and ethical responsibility. The pyramid was selected as a geometric design because it is simple, intuitive, and built to withstand the test of time. Consequently, the economic responsibility was placed at the base of the pyramid because it is the foundation requirement in the business. And legal responsibility is kept in the second as the society is conveying the message to the businesses that it is expected to obey the law and comply with the regulation, because law and regulations are society's codification on the basic ground rules upon which business is to be operated in the civil society. And the ethical responsibility is to be fulfilled by the organization, as business is expected to operate in ethical fashion. This means that business has the expectation and obligation that it will do what is right and avoid or minimize harm to all the stakeholders with whom it interacts. Finally, the business is expected to be a good corporate citizen that is to give back and contribute financial, physical, and human resources to the communities of which it is a part. And at the top, philanthropic activities is to be fulfilled by the organization in which organization is engaged in charity and other social work. The pyramid shows us the different responsibilities of the businesses. The different responsibility of the organization can provide sustainability to the organization. Carroll 2016. I would like to call my friend Isa to add more on this topic, CSR and global sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you, Ganesh. Recently, businesses worldwide have started placing a greater emphasis on sustainability, and the companies have all kinds of motivation for this investment. Nearly 33% of the companies are prioritizing sustainability to reduce cost and improve operational efficiencies as well. And other invest in corporate citizenship, best practices for a short-lived media boost as businesses continue to take steps to be sustainable. Corporate sustainability is thrown around a lot, and some even confuse corporate sustainability with others like CSR, that is corporate social responsibility. And the term corporate sustainability describes new corporate management model. It can also fall under the broader term environmental social governance. And corporate sustainability emphasizes growth and profitability through intentional business practices in three areas of society. And the goal is to provide long-term value for stakeholders without com- compromising people, the planet, or the economy. And whereas corporate social responsibility is a broader concept uh, is a is a broader concept than corporate sustainability. In short term, CSR helps a company to be socially accountable to itself, to its stakeholders, and the public. And a company that engages in CSR operates in a way that enhances social enhances society both locally and globally. And CSR is a long-term strategy that is never temporary and always evolving. For example, Starbucks is known for upholding exceptional standards of corporate social responsibility, and the company sells ethically sourced coffee and happily promotes its global farmers network. And Starbucks has also developed a groundbreaking college achievement plan designed exclusively for employees. And CSR has multiple facets, and now all the organization can invest in all of them. And the goal is not to invest every initiative possible, but start small by making changes in your organization and community. Now I would like to invite Sudiksha to speak further.
Thank you, Isha, for inviting me. I agree with what Isha just talked about, and now I would like to further elaborate on this. The European Commission in 2001 has defined CSR as a concept whereby companies integrate social and environmental concerns in their business operation and in their interaction with their stakeholders on a voluntary basis. Measuring company performance according to this definition would require what many refer to as a triple bottom line approach, which is very distinct from the single bottom line approach. CSR implies that corporate performance is judged not just by the services, products, and profits that business make, but also by the impacts they have on social well-being and on the local and global environment. This has increased pressure on firms to accede to sustainable development objectives, particularly in terms of their social and environment targets. Among the hundreds of definitions set forth by scholars, the widely used definition of sustainable development is the one which was published in the report of Brundtland World Commission in 1987, which defines it as the development process which meets the need of present generation without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. Sustainable development calls for concerted efforts towards building an inclusive, sustainable, and resilient future for both people and planet. Earth Summit, which was organized by a United Nations Conference on Environment and Development in Rio de Janeiro in 1992, was the first milestone which aimed to strengthen the role of major groups in sustainable development. This sustainable development concept is popularly known to be based on three pillars of sustainability, which is set in a framework called TBL, that is Triple Bottom Line, which was introduced by John Elkington in 1994. This TBL approach simply states that in order to achieve the sustainable development, there should be a balance between three interrelated elements, that is social, environmental, and economic imperatives. Now, I would like to invite Sunshine to add more on this field.
Thank you, Sudiksha, for calling me and then letting me talk about my points. So I would like to talk about the concept, more on the concept of what sustainable development is and on the concept of what CSR is and how they might overlap with each other. So here, sustainable development, the Brundtland Report in 1987 to 1988 defines that sustainable development as the one meeting the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet theirs. So the United Nations in 2005 World Summit Outcome Document identifies three main elements in which sustainable development rests. So these integrated elements are: one, economic development, social development, and then the third one is environmental protection. So each needs to be considered of equal importance as they are interdependent and mutually reinforcing. So for Jensen 2007, the Sustainable Development Initiative has established itself as a must. Policy. It's a must and on par with democracy and freedom as an indispensable tool to pursue economic development. So the idea of sustainable development emerged from the environmental protection debate and was established at the political level as guiding principle for society as a whole at the UN Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in 1992, which Sudiksha just said, and worked to derive a concept for business did not begin in earnest until mid-1990s. So today, the concepts of CSR and sustainable development overlap in many areas. So when talking about CSR, in contrast to the more recent sustainable development concept, this concept of CSR, we posit that socially responsible firms are those that incorporate their in their operation activities that address social, ethical, and environmental concerns beyond which is only required by law, beyond what is required by law, and whose outcomes should result in an improved quality of life for most of the corporation stakeholders, as said by Carroll in 1991, 1999, Garriga and Melk in 2004, Magnan and Ralston in 2002. So many scholars have also noted that this is very much required in the concept of CSR. So Baltras and others in 2010 have said that from this perspective, the CSR concept includes the more specific case of sustainable development. In that sense, all these sustainable development initiatives can also be labeled as CSR initiatives. So in contrast, there might be some CSR initiatives, for example, an endowment to the local symphony that do not directly relate to sustainability. Therefore, we acknowledge that while it is similar that CSR and sustainable development are not identical, both are voluntary corporate acts which can have different purposes and different expected outcomes. And now I'd like to call on to Drishti to share her opinion and views on the concept of CSR and sustainable development.
Thank you, Sunshine, for calling my name to speak further on the topic. The concept of sustainable development has a long history in certain industries. The term has been used since the 70s in the forestry industry to refer to the practice of limiting logging to ensure a future supply of trees. The World Commission on Environment and Development defines sustainable development as a development that meets currently existing needs without making it harder for people to do the same in the future. If a developer cuts down all the trees in certain areas without planting any new trees, this could not be an example of sustainable development because it could also sacrifice future supplies to meet the certain needs. Sustainable development and corporate social responsibilities are separate but related concepts. Sustainable development refers to the primary two issues of environmental impact and economic justice, while corporate social responsibility includes broader concerns such as the company's charitable contribution and the role in a community. Sustainable development can be a part of company social responsibility program. Sustainable development is not only an environmental concern. The World Commission on Environmental and Development defines development definition needs as referring to a basic economic necessities, especially those of the poor. A mining project defined to rapidly remove all the valuable minerals from a certain mountain could not be economically sustainable because many job gains in the local area could be strictly short term. A wind farm on the same mountain could be seen as sustainable because it could provide both energy and employment in a long term. Now I would like to call Manjila to speak further.
Thank you, Drishti, for inviting me to speak further. Businesses need to move from an outdated sense of fast profits at the expense of the environment to a more mutual interdependence and eco-innovation. Adopting sustainable practices not only helps the environment, corporations have proven that sustainability initiatives lead to an improved brand image, reduced costs, happier shareholders, increased productivity, and countless more benefits. Now let's dive deeper into the three pillars of corporate social sustainability. The first one is the environmental pillar. The environmental pillar is the most talked about of the three pillars of corporate sustainability. It includes the various actions of companies. It includes various actions that a company can take to reduce their environmental impact and most importantly, carbon footprint. Examples include reducing packaging waste, reducing water uses, recycling materials, and using sustainable energy sources. The second one is the social pillar. The social pillar focuses on a company seeking the approval of its stakeholders, employees, and the local community. A big part of corporate sustainability is a company's dedication to taking good care of people inside and outside of the business. Social practices include eliminating child labor, offering paternity and maternity leave, and giving back to the community. The third one is the economic pillar. The economic pillar involves implementing sustainable business practices to promote long-term profitability. After all, a company can't have a positive impact on the environment or the community if it's not profitable. Elements of the economic pillar include compliance and good corporate governance, meaning the values of stakeholders and management align in terms of how they spend the resources. The economic pillar makes it possible for a company to strategize and invest in new corporate sustainability method. All that said, no one pillar should overshadow the others. Otherwise, businesses get caught trying to cut corners and increase profits unethically. Now, I'd like to invite Ganesh to speak further on this topic.
Thank you, Manjila, for inviting me to share my views. From a stakeholder's perspective, CSR communication provides companies with the opportunity to cultivate relationship with their extended web of stakeholders by assuming responsible and transparent business practices. Jones and Butler 2009 argued that CSR practices can add strategic value for organizations if they are utilized as the facilitator of relationship management. Similarly, Kim and Rader 2010 made the case for CSR-focused corporate communication strategy by connecting it to relationship management. Relationship management has been a central concept for public relations research and practice. In fact, the practice itself has been defined as the management function that establishes and maintains a mutually beneficial relationship between organization and the publics on whom its success or failure depends. According to Ledingram and Bonding 1998, a relationship is the state which exists between an organization and its key public in which the action of the organization can either impact economic, social, cultural or political well-being of the other. A relational approach helps organization develop and nurture relationship that are based on openings, trust, satisfaction, commitment, and control mutuality. Many researchers has found CSR activities and CSR communication by the organization helps them for relationship management with the stakeholders, which will ultimately provide them sustainability in the organization. Now, I would like to call Isa to share her views with us.
Thank you, Ganesh, for inviting me. CSR is an integral part of sustainable development, and exactly where it fits in it is vigorously debated. And mainly because the concept of sustainable development also has many different interpretations. And the basic idea to incorporate sustainability aspects into business management should be grounded in an of ethical belief of give and take and to maintain a successful company in the long term. As the company is as the company is embedded in a complex system of interdependence in and outside the firm, this maintaining character should be fulfilled due to the company's commitment in protecting the environment or reducing its ecological footprint and due to the general acceptance of its corporate behavior by society in and outside the firm. It is recommended that CSR is to be used as a social stand of a sustainable development concept, which is mainly built on a sound stakeholder approach. And CSR focuses especially on corporate engagement, realizing its responsibilities as a member of society and meeting the expectations of all stakeholders. A framework has been proposed which integrates sustainable development definition by Brundtland Commission, as mentioned before, and the model of triple bottom line as an ethical concept which offers ideas concerning sustainable orientation on macro level. The concept of sustainable development on a corporate level is stated as corporate sustainability, which is based on the three pillars that is economic, ecological, and social issues, also known as triple bottom line. Therefore, the social dimension is named as CSR. And the corporate orientation on sustainability is especially affected by external influences due to specific sustainability orientation on macro level. Um, these frameworks include legal, technological, market, societal, cultural, and environmental attributes. Legal attributes include laws, human rights, and etc. Technological includes new technologies. Market includes suppliers, competitors, customers, and trends. Social includes NGOs and society as a whole. Cultural includes attitudes and behavior. And lastly, environmental includes nature and availability of resources. Not only does society influence the company, the implementation of corporate sustainability in companies also has positive effect on society in the long term. Thank you, and now I would like to invite Sudiksha to speak further.
Thank you, Isha, for inviting me again. Now, I'd like to talk about the 3R principles, that is reduce, reuse, and recycle. So talking about reducing, it means choosing to use things with care to reduce the amounts of waste generated. Talking about reusing, it involves the repetitive use of items or part of items which still have usable aspects in them. And finally, recycling means using waste itself as resources. Waste minimalization can be achieved in an efficient way by focusing primarily first on reduce, then followed by reuse and recycle. The 3R principle seeks to provide the natural resources for future generation by reducing the use of these natural resources and reusing and recycling it as much as possible to prevent the environment from degrading. Currently, the 3R principles became increasingly implemented in many European countries, USA, Japan, and many other developed and developing countries. According to Daniel in 2003, reducing packaging can reduce total waste produced and total resources used. He further stated that reducing waste can be through reducing the use of plastic bags, plastic cups, and plastic utensils. Where reducing is not possible, uh, the waste should be reused. Reusing items can be by repairing, selling, or donating the items to charity and community groups. According to Lino and Ismail in 2012, in some developed countries like Japan, Sweden, Belgium, and Denmark, the index of reuse of solid waste is over 90%. Now, recycling is taking a product or material at the end of its useful life and turning it into a reusable raw material to make another product. According to European Environment Agency report in 2013, many European countries increased the share of municipal waste recycling, and the highest rates are in Austria with 63%, followed by Germany with 62%, Belgium with 58%, and the Netherlands and Switzerland with 51%. Therefore, one way among the paths to achieve sustainable development is to promote the management of 3R principle, that is reduce, reuse, and recycle. Now, I would like to invite Sunshine to talk about the CSR realities.
Thank you, Sudiksha. My point now would be about more leaning towards the reality of corporate social responsibility in today's 21st century landscape, focusing on developing countries. So Bowen and others in 2007, as well as Weiser in 2008, have said that corporate social responsibility, in terms of both acceptance and practical application of the concept, remains at a nascent and non-institutionalized stage in developing countries, particularly when compared to CSR benchmarks used in the developed world. So further, Chahout and others in 2007, and Jamali and Mershak in 2007 as well, have stated that those CSR initiatives that are adopted in developing countries tend to be limited primarily to ad hoc, philanthropic, or charitable contributions for community welfare activities. So only very rarely do they incorporate the broader range of activities which enable CSR to be an engine for sustainable development. Hunt and others in 1990 and Singapakti and others in 1996 have said that this failure to exploit the full potential of CSR has been partly attributed to the business community's attitudes towards and perceptions of CSR, as it has been argued that business managers must perceive social responsibility to be vital in order for them to display socially responsible behaviors. So reflective of this, Jamali and Mirshak in 2007, as well as Quasi and O'Brien in 2000, have said that the business community's predisposition for engaging in philanthropy-based CSR will be influenced by local cultural variables and the religious values of entrepreneurs or the managers. So developing countries have placed special emphasis on promoting CSR among local private sector enterprises and firms. So this reflects a growing recognition within these countries that CSR is an important vehicle for promoting business competitiveness. Hamanan and others in 2009, Lindgren and others in 2009, as well as Saleh and others in 2011, have said that sustainable development was it was expected that these programs would have considerable impact in fostering more positive attitudes and perceptions, aiding a transformation from the CSR is just a philanthropy or charitable donations to the more powerful notion of CSR as a means for sustainable development. However, Moen and West in 2013 have notify us that the predominant understanding of CSR that has emerged remains tilted towards the notions of charity and philanthropy more than it is towards being a means of sustainable development, because that is how it has been perceived from the very beginning. For example, when highlighting good cases of CSR by businesses, the media typically publicize reports on companies that are engaged in charitable activities, and broad-based publicity campaigns need to also target more businesses that make substantive contribution to sustainable development. For example, businesses that operate in an environmental friendly manner or which adopt programs to advance human rights. Such publicity would also be likely to have an educative effect, raising general consciousness of the importance of sustainability and encouraging consumers to factor it into their decision-making process. How they would look at what kind of supplier is supplying the product for this brand, or whether there is what kind of ethical activity they pursue. Moving on, this in turn may endanger a demand and preference for goods and services that are supplied in accordance with sustainability principles. Such an outcome would be a profound transformation. Rather than having to push businesses to adopt these sustainable practices, they would be pulled to do so by their customers and clients. Now, I would like to invite Drishti to share more further on this topic.
Thank you, Sunshine, for calling my name to speak further. CSR engagement equal a corporate contribution to sustainable development is currently being challenged. For example, Milne and Gray 2013 argues that current corporate CSR practice hardly ever address system-wide sustainability challenge such as ecosystem degradation, poverty, and social justice. Instead, business and their association have limited their ideas to issues about themselves because trust in the private sector's ability to self-regulate and drive positive social change is declining. TNCs needs to find a new way to demonstrate how they are engaging in CSR in a way that contributes to sustainable development. Just doing good is no longer enough. Many TNCs still struggles to demonstrate what they achieve through their CSR activities across the value chain and the value they created for both the borders, society, and the environment. For example, their impact on sustainable development. CRC 2014. In the same vein, management research has so far not produced clear theoretical framework to engage the CSR in a way that captures systematic linkage and interdependencies among the value chain. leading some scholars to question whether CSR contribution to sustainable development at all. Banerjee 2003, Melny and Gray 2013. Role played by CSR in attaining sustainable development. CSR play a vital role in attaining a sustainable development. The company has a social and moral responsibility towards protecting the environment. Currently, this social and moral responsibility is being backed by the rule and regulation. Many companies are forcing on environment issue for their CSR activities. Sony, Panasonic, and Orchard hotels are forcing on issue related to environment such as toxic gases, waste production, and water contamination, etc. Now I would like to call Manjila to speak further.
Thank you, Drishti, for inviting me. In the past, corporate social responsibility initiatives improved bottom lines with increased sales through building brand trust. This is still a fact, although now the expectation is that the actions and actual long-term benefits are widely reported. Successful corporate social responsibility initiatives must be associated with sustainability actions that have been successfully implemented. So let's talk about its short-term benefits. Taking the example of investing in Clean Up Australia Day um, for the staffs to take part in, this can help a company improve its brand reputation by being involved in a community event. It can also encourage the staff to feel included, making the company more attractive to work for and reducing the turnover. The money you earn raises will provide some relief to the charity, and the staffs clean the area from litter. Beyond the event, what long-term impact does this cleaning event have on corporate social responsibility, on either society or your business and the environment? This is still a wonderful corporate social responsibility activity to take part in for multiple reasons, yet it is a short-term um, impact with mitigation initiative that will temporarily only build the brand. Talking about long-term benefits, sustainability, unlike CSR, operates on a long-term vision. A sustainability initiative would focus on the source of the waste, perhaps even develop a new waste-free product or change production process to minimize waste. This would effectively reduce the impact, with the subsequent sustainability report glowing with good news on the three pillars. To clarify, Clean Up Australia Day would be one of several actions in a sustainability plan which would be reported to a CSR initiatives. Consider Carlsberg, the beer manufacturer who installed a water recycling plant on site. This action reduced water waste per hectoliter of beer from 2.9 to 1.5, becoming one of the first beer producers to almost eliminate their water wastage. This improved efficiencies, increased profits, and delivered a healthier environment and happy society. Carlsberg did not need to change production process, nor were they pressed for water supply. They recognized the multiple benefits of sustainability with CSR embedded in their decision making. Now I'd like to call Ganesh to further speak on this topic.
Thank you, Manjila. I agree on what my friend just mentioned about CSR and sustainability. Now, I would like to add further something on environmental CSR. Environmental CSR aims to reduce any damaging effects on the environment from the business's processes. The activities may focus on use of green energy, conserving water, waste management practice in the organization, recycling the waste produced by the organization, control on waste emission, and eco-friendly office and business travel policies. Green CSR can reduce business risks, improve reputation, and provide opportunities for cost saving to the organization. Even the simplest energy efficiency measures can generate a saving and make a difference to the businesses. For example, switching off lights and equipment when not in use, reducing the use of water, reducing the amount of paper that our organization waste can make our organization environmentally responsible. Caring about the environment and can also increase the revenue of the organization. Many customers prefer to buy the products from the responsible companies. An environmental conscious organization can focus on some of the aspects to reduce their business's environmental impact in many ways. For example, they can create products that can be recycled, optimize their product life cycle, source responsibility example using recycled materials and sustainable timber, reduce packaging, buy locally to save the fuel cost, and create an efficient distribution network. Work with the environmentally conscious suppliers and distributors in order to preserve the environment. One of the example of environmentally sustainable companies is Starbucks. Starbucks focuses on managing environmental issue and managing its other resources simultaneously. Starbucks has a long been known for its keen sense of corporate social responsibility and commitment to sustainability and community welfare. According to company, Starbucks has achieved many of its CSR milestones since it opened its door. According to 2009 Global Social Impact Report, these milestones include 99% of ethically sourced coffee, creating a global network of farmers, pioneering green building throughout its store, contributing millions of hours of community service, and creating groundbreaking college program for its partners and employees. Starbucks' goal for 2020 was beyond, including hiring 10,000 refugees, reducing the environmental impact of its crops, and engaging its employees in environmental leadership. Today, there are many socially responsible companies whose brands are known for their CSR programs, such as Ben and Jerry's ice cream, Everlane, a clothing retailer, are some of the example of those companies. Now I want to call Isa to add more on this.
Thank you, Ganesh. The term sustainability has emerged along with the social responsibility and corporate governance as important subject matter for businesses today. And the United Nations lists environmental sustainability as one of the Millennium Development Goals, along with reducing poverty, increasing education, promoting gender equality, improving child and maternal health, and combating HIV and AIDS. States Harish 2012. Sustainability, of course, emphasizes legal, ethical, moral, and social responsibility values, and also is related to corporate governance. However, as Spectre 2012 currently points out, dealing with sustainability may be a difficult challenge for certain business executives. One of the cause may be that the sustainability aim of creating long-term value while balancing the business need for profit with the ethics of social and environmental responsibility. In order to better illustrate as well as explain the values of practicality, legality, morality, and social responsibility, and the relationship to sustainability, the authors have Spectre 2012 have developed a business sustainability continuum model. The model illustrates that the continuous success and sustainability of business can only be achieved by an adherence to four core values, that is economic, which indicates that business obviously must have a viable business model which fulfills a need and enables the business to make profit. And legal, indicating that this profit must be achieved in legal manner by aligning the conduct of business with all applicable local, national, and international law. And ethical, indicating that since there may be no law or gap in the law, the business must act in a moral manner and also must act in conformity with values, promises, and obligations. And social responsibility, indicating that business must focus on the community and engage in philanthropic and charitable endeavors as a part of the business overall strategic plan. And sustainability will help the business, but also help the business help governments solve pressing social problems, and as such, this provides an occasion to rebuild trust that is good for business and good for society as well. Harish 2012 adds that CSR has widely CSR has been widely regarded as a positive phenomenon, helping bridge the gap of social inequality and thus contributing to sustainable development. Accordingly, adherence to these sustainable values will enable the company to achieve success and to sustain that success in a continual manner. So thereby benefiting the businesses, its stakeholders, the communities where it does business, and all the stakeholders affected by the business, including society as a whole. Now I would like to invite Sudiksha to speak further.
Thank you, Isha, for calling me out. Now I'll be talking about Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals, that is SDG, were born at the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development in 2012. Results of the United Nations Sustainable Development Summit 2015 were published in the document named Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. It is emphasized in the first sentence of the document that all countries and all stakeholders acting in collaborative partnership should implement the sustainability plan in order to achieve the determined 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The objective was to produce a set of universal goals that meet the urgent environmental, political, and economic challenges facing our world. The SDGs are unique in that they cover issues that affect all of us and reaffirm our international commitment to end poverty everywhere. It is the collection of 17 global goals that was designed as a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. The 17 goals are ending poverty, ending hunger, that is achieving food security and improved nutrition and promoting sustainable agriculture, ensuring good health and well-being, ensuring quality education, achieving gender equality, ensuring sustainable management of clean water and sanitation, access to affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, then maintaining sustainable industry, fostering innovation, and building resilient infrastructure. It is about reducing inequalities, building sustainable cities and communities, then ensuring responsible consumption and production, climate action, which is taking urgent actions to combat climate change and its impact. Another goal is life below water, that is to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, sea, and marine resources for sustainable development. Then it is life on land, promoting peace, justice, and inclusive, strong institution. And the final goal is a partnerships for the goals, that which was created to encourage global engagement around multi-stakeholder partnerships and voluntary commitments in support of the sustainable development goals. Now I would like to invite Sunshine to elaborate more on this SDG framework.
Thank you, Sudiksha. And adding on to what Sudiksha's point was about sustainable development goals, I'm going to talk about it as a framework and how it is related to CSR. So Carroll in 2015 said that when we think about companies as citizens of the community, they, like people, have certain duties and responsibilities they must fulfill to be perceived as legitimate and accepted. And recently, a global trend has emerged that pushes corporates towards a business model based on integrating the dimensions of sustainable development into their business strategies. And indeed, Kolk and Tulder in 2010 agree that global problems resulting from environmental hazards and issues of poverty have pressured multinational and transnational companies to take up responsibilities such as accountability to stakeholders in hosting countries and even the host countries as well. So consequently, subsidiary relationships, the choice of products, and other strategic decisions started to incorporate economic, legal, ethical, social, and environmental dimensions altogether. So to repeat on what Sudiksha said, in September 2015, world leaders at the United Nations unanimously adopted a new global development agenda that is transforming our world, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, one of the most ambitious and important global agreements in recent history, which came into effect on the 1st of January 2016 with 17 sustainable development goals, which Sudiksha has already said. So the primary advantages of sustainable development goals are that they tend to stress the long-term perspective when discussing economic development. They encompass economic, social, and environmental factors while focusing on world's most pressing challenges, including ending poverty and bringing economic prosperity, social inclusion, and environmental sustainability and peace to all people. So Carroll in 2015 notes that companies have increasingly adopted the framework of the CSRS, and in turn, this business acceptance leads to their progressive institutionalization within society. So, sustainable development goals related practices are becoming more commonplace, more formalized, varied, and deeply integrated into business practices because it is relevant and applicable to all countries and can be seen as a common framework and template for understanding sustainable development in both developed and developing countries. So it is becoming the common language for the interaction of companies with other stakeholders to contribute to a better world. So UN WTO in 2019 have stated that by trying to accommodate sustainable development goals in their CSR practices, companies can unveil new growth opportunities and can use the sustainable development goals as an overarching framework to shape, stir, communicate, and report their strategies, allowing them to create the balance between social responsibility and financial viability. So in that sense, the sustainable business model can be seen as an elaboration on the new generation of CSR, focusing on inclusive growth of businesses. Moreover, Abdelhaim and Eldin in 2019 have said that CSR and sustainable development goals have the potential to advance a model for sustainable growth and development due to the thematic overlaps and interconnectedness between the two. Indeed, CSR is a strong tool for promoting synergies between stakeholders, and it capitalizes on the role of private sector in achieving sustainable development. Now, I'd like to invite Drishti to share her views and opinions further on this topic.
The concept of corporate social responsibility and that of sustainable development progressed separately for a long time, and it was not clear what the relationship was between the two. After summarizing the definition and reviewing the development process of sustainable development, it can be concluded that CSR is a business model which promotes business contribution to sustainable development. It creates a balance between the economic interest, environmental needs, and social expectation by integrating the spirit of sustainable development into business strategy. The interaction between the conceptions of CSR and sustainable development has strengthened in certain years. CSR is considered to be an integrational part of sustainable development. World Business Council for Sustainable Development 2000 corporate sustainability is the company version of sustainable development, while CSR is a voluntary managerial approach to sustainable development. Langer Conrad 2005. Corporate responsibility and corporate sustainability can be used as synonyms. United Nations Global Concept 2013. Government international organization, the business sectors and other non-state performers and individuals must contribute to changing unsustainable consumption and production patterns and move towards more sustainable patterns of consumption and production. Private business activities play a key role to solve sustainable development challenges with its creativity, investment, and innovation. A dynamic and well functioning business sector, while promoting labor rights and environmental and health standards in accordance with relevant international standard and agreement, can be an essential driving force of sustainable development. United Nations General Assembly 2015. The relationship between sustainable development and CSR does not remain on theoretical level, but also more practical initiatives indicates that companies have an increasing role in establishing sustainable development, the aim of which is to examine the way how the large companies in the world contributes to gaining sustainable development through their CSR activities. Now I would like to call Manjila to speak further.
I agree to what Drishti just said, and I'd like to thank her for inviting me to speak further. Corporate social responsibility is a broader concept than corporate sustainability. In short, CSR helps a company be socially accountable to itself, its stakeholders, and the public. A company that engages in CSR operates in a way that enhances society both locally and globally. Corporate social responsibility is a long term strategy that is never temporary and is always evolving. Now, let's discuss some similarities between CSR and corporate sustainability. Both CSR and corporate sustainability focus on helping companies run in a way that allows them to ethically be profitable and never at the expense of others. Both CSR and corporate sustainability help companies make positive impact on those around them. These two concepts are closely related. After all, corporate sustainability is a part of corporate social responsibility, but there are some key differences between them as well. Now, let's talk about that. The first one is vision. Corporate social responsibility often looks backward and reflects on what a company has done to contribute to the society, whereas corporate sustainability looks forward and develops a sustainable strategy for the future. Um, Talking about the targets of CSR initiatives are often opinion formers, for example, media, politicians, and pressure groups, whereas corporate sustainability looks at the whole value chain, that is, everyone from end customers to the stakeholders. And talking about motivation, the motivation and driving force behind CSR initiatives is to protect a company's reputation, whereas for corporate sustainability, the drive has more to do with creating new opportunities for upcoming and emerging market, looking forward to different opportunities as well. Now, I'd like to invite Ganesh to speak further on this topic.
Thank you, Manjula, for inviting me. Moving further, Morrissey 2020 has given six steps that a company can craft an effective corporate social responsibility program and make organization sustainable through their strategy. The steps are: one, build a strategy around the company's core competencies. If a company has developed strengths, research and acknowledged research and knowledge in the specific area, supporting a cause that aligns with that expertise can have both a win for community partners and for the company with new customer visibility and revenue streams. Second is recognize a issue that matters to the customers. According to a Cone Communications CSR study, 87% of customers would purchase a product based on company supporting social or environmental issues that customer cares about. Customers are rewarding socially responsible companies through brand loyalty and purchasing products that provide a social benefit. Third one is developing CSR initiative that makes employees proud. Strategic companies are also using CSR programs to protect and grow their biggest assets, their employees. 76% of millennials consider a company's social and environmental commitments when deciding where to work, and 64% would not take a job if a potential employer didn't have strong corporate social responsibility practice in the place. Fourth one is measuring the ROI of companies' CSR efforts for the C-suite and investors. Developing an organized framework for reporting that links efforts back to strategy priorities for the business will inform your C-suite and investors if your CSR efforts are affecting your company's performance. While having CSR activity, companies should focus on activities that drive cost saving, new customer acquisition, and brand awareness. Fifth one is expand your company's definition of CSR. According to a Cone Communication CSR study, consumers prioritize the following business actions as important: being a good employer, operating in a way that protects and benefits society and the environment, creating products and services that ensure individual well-being, investing in causes in local communities and around the globe, and standing up important social justice uses. And the last one is be prepared for rapid response to current events and social movements. To be sustainable, your CSR work needs to be flexible. This could include modifying budgets, redirecting investments of time, and quickly identifying trusted non-profit partners to launch new programs or adjust existing ones. If the company can implement these six steps, they can have sustainability through their CSR activity. I want to invite my friend Isa to share her views with us.
Just a minute, Ganesh. Will you please repeat the fourth one? Measuring what? What did you say?
Fourth one, measure the ROI of your CSR efforts.
Measuring the ROI?
Yes, ma'am. Return of investment.
ROI.
Like how customers are engaged with you by your CSR activities.
Let me repeat. Measuring the ROI, return of investment of CSR, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the last one, be prepared for rapid response of what?
Current events and social movements.
Current event?
And social movements.
And social movement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Now go on.
So I want to invite my friend Isa to share her views with us.
Thank you, Ganesh. Corporate sustainability. Sorry. Corporate sustainability is complementary theme to CSR and has gained significant significant importance among researchers. And as mentioned before, the definition has evolved from a focus on natural environment towards more encompassing concept that covers the larger social and stakeholder environment spanning economic, environmental, and social dimensions. Corporate sustainability requires the improvement of both eco-efficiency and socio-efficiency of the business. Eco-efficiency is the measurement of economic values that economic value added of a company with regard to his aggregated ecological impact, and the typical indicator includes energy efficiency, water and resource efficiency, and pollution intensity, and also social.
Isha, just a minute. Eco-efficiency, you explained, it is related to economic or ecological?
Ecological.
Ecological, not economic, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay, go on.
Socio-efficiency is socio-efficiency is calculation of economic value added in relation to firm's social impact. And to achieve socio-efficiency, a firm would have to reduce its negative social impact and increase its positive social impact. And Van 2003 differentiated social corporate sustainability from CSR, and he considered corporate sustainability as the ultimate goal of corporate development, and CSR being the way to achieve it. And in addition, the firm's responsibility, as indicated by Carroll's pyramid of CSR, reflect the three aspects of corporate sustainability, that is economic, social, and environmental, to the three elements of people, planet, and profit. Hence, CSR is a means towards the achievement of corporate sustainability. Now I would like to invite Sudiksha to share her views on the topic.
Thank you, Isha, for inviting me. Now, I'd like to talk about how path to sustainable development depends on activities of CSR. The business, the business sphere got a larger and larger role in sustainable development, and it has become clear by now that CSR contributes to the sustainable development of the business sphere, and without that, sustainable development cannot be attained. The relationship between sustainable development and CSR does not remain on theoretical level, but it is based more on practical initiatives. Sustainability is a process, whereas sustainable development is an objective, and it is possible only through sustainability. In practice, in the majority of companies, CSR is a business model which promotes business contribution to sustainable development. That is, it creates a balance between economic interest, environmental needs, and social expectations by integrating the spirit of sustainable development into the business strategy. According to World Business Council, the interaction between the conceptions of CSR and sustainable development has strengthened in recent years, and CSR is considered to be an integral part of sustainable development. CSR towards the natural environment is a concept of conducting business activities according to which the companies, in strict compliance with laws while still making profits, voluntarily takes into consideration the impacts of their operation on the environment in their business decisions. Socially responsible entities assume responsibilities for ecological ramification of their activities, strive to eliminate pollutions and emissions of harmful substances, and attempt to increase the efficiency of using natural resources, thus elevating their ecological footprints. Proactive companies are increasingly taking greater responsibilities due to voluntary initiatives, and also promote and implement self-regulation in ensuring that their activities have minimal impact on human health and the environment. Therefore, when considering the management of socially responsible activities of enterprise or CSR, one cannot disregard the relationship between the CSR concept and sustainable development. They both relate to the same spheres of enterprise impact and enable achieving far-reaching social, ecological, and economical goal based on ethical standards. Now, I'd like to call Sunshine to give her further perspectives on this.
Thank you, Sudiksha. Well, the CSR concept is far broader in its scope. It encompasses the fundamental responsibilities of the company and all of its contributions to sustainability, irrespective of whether the activities concerned form part of or lie outside its ordinary business activities. Companies are challenged to help society as a whole to achieve a sustainable development, and sustainable management thus revolves around what the company does to advance sustainability and attempts to maximize its contribution in this respect. So the minimum requirements for sustainability in society as a whole are reviewed systematically, and efforts are made to ensure that they're always met. So like the principle of sustainability itself, sustainable management covers all three dimensions of sustainability. That is to say that the ecological, economic, and social aspects. This principle relates to the whole of society and entails a clear political objective. So social, ecological, and economic concerns, the Brundtland Commission concluded, must be given equal consideration if sustainable development is to become a reality. The sustainable principle additionally includes the idea of both intragenerative as well as intergenerative justice. Now, I would like to call on to Drishti to talk more about it.
A business engaging in CSR should not be considered a luxury that one might or might not be able to afford. Corporations that practice CSR and sustainable development needs to operate in a way that are respectful to the general population and their surrounding environment. Doing this thing successfully requires business to pay a special attention to the product quality and the impact their activities might be having on their community, something that might initially be considered a simple operational cost. However, not all costs are equal, and some corporations have learned that by acting responsibly, they can become more innovative, increase their revenue by producing higher quality product, and reduce cost by making smarter business decisions. Having been the orchestrator of many challenges humanity now faces, countries around the world are now responsible for finding solution to this global issue. The Sustainable Development Goal adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in September 2015 contained 17 global goals such as no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water, sanitation, and affordable and clean energy. Collective effort to address this issue can be triggered by individuals with innovative ideas and support of the private and public sector. Corporations needs to take action to improve the economy, society as a whole, and the environment. The way to do so is to innovate. Innovation can uncover new ways to foster societal progress, and when it comes to innovation, the private sector has a crucial role by engaging in CSR. The private sector also have a largely unrecognized role to play in achieving gender equality. Without women empowerment, the world can't fully eradicate poverty or attain zero hunger. As an employer, the private sector can potentially empower millions of female employees and consumers who often prioritize the well-being of their families. Accordingly, multiple students have clear demonstrated that companies with a more gender equal workforce and women in more leadership position are more profitable on average. In their CSR effort, companies should not only promote gender equality but also consider the role they are playing in promoting all the 17 sustainable development goals. Now I would like to call Manjila to speak further.
Now let's discuss the five effective measures a company can take to create sustainability within its business. The first one is to define some clear goals. If anything in business is going to work, there has to be a plan, and sustainability is no different. Defining some goals is an essential first step. Whether you want to reduce carbon emissions or improve employee motivation, a company needs to set a goal before it can develop a plan. The second one is gradual and consistent improvement. Sustainability is a journey rather than a destination. Small improvements are probably the easiest way to start, and it requires little in the way of a challenging business case. It could be something as small as making it easier to recycle in the office. A consistent focus on incremental improvements will keep a company from moving forward on the sustainability journey. The third one is assuring sustainability in the supply chain. Um, no matter how good the company performs, supply chain shortcomings will damage the outcome no matter what. A company should have the cleanest internal process, but if poor practices deliver the raw materials, they can also damage the products. Try putting a sweatshop scandal into your search engine to see how many got caught out in the way. Eventually, there will be reputation damage and financial hit. The fourth one is allocating resources. If you're going to if you are going to keep making progress, you need a continuous focus. That is especially true in early stages when there may be small projects that get completed and then next ones need to start. While major projects clearly need resources, keeping momentum on the sustainability journey takes effort. It is more important than something the CEO thinks about every now and then. Sometime an organization needs to own the responsibility. The final one is engaging employees. Business sustainability includes the staff, encouraging them to recycle and cycling to work and not using plastic products in the office. It is found that sustainability challenges, especially with a competitive element, build moral and team spirit, especially amongst the millennials who will have to live with the consequences of today's business that are not sustainable at all. When they get involved in such practices, the people will come up with lots of fresh ideas. So, in the end, it is less complicated than people might think. The outcomes are better than you accept, and it is more important that you can imagine. Now, I'd like to invite Ganesh to move towards the conclusion part of the debate.
Thank you, Manjula. Now I want to take this student-led seminar to conclusion part. From the seminar, I got the opportunity to know about CSR is not just limited to philanthropic activity, but it is rather a big concept which includes ethical, legal, and economic aspects too. Organizations should manage people, planet, and profit in order to gain sustainability in the organization. Although CSR and sustainability is somehow different from each other, but they both have a relationship and affects each other. Now I want to call Isa to add more on conclusion.
Thank you, Ganesh. Both CSR and corporate sustainability focus on helping companies run in a way that allows them to be ethically profitable, never at the expense of others. And both CSR and corporate sustainability helps companies make a positive impact on those around them. And essentially, sustainability relates to the reduction of environmental impact through reduction of consumption, that is reduce, recycle and reuse. Corporate sustainability includes sustainability but relates to a wider relationship between the organization and its key stakeholders and the community. These two concepts are closely related. After all, corporate sustainability is a part of corporate social responsibility, and corporate social responsibility is the commitment of business to contribute to its sustainable economic development, working with employees, their families, the local community, and society as at large to improve the quality of life. And thank you. And now I would like to invite Sudiksha to speak further.
Thank you, Isha, for inviting me. After summarizing the definitions and reviewing the development process of sustainable development, it can be concluded that CSR is a business model which promotes business contribution to sustainable development. That is, it creates a balance between economic interest, environmental needs, and social needs. And a truly socially responsible firm will be the only one that attempts to minimize cost to the environment and society and maximize benefits to both. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Sunshine to add more on the conclusion.
Thank you, Sudiksha. Consequently, investing in sustainability and CSR initiatives may increase costs for a corporate brand without delivering the desired benefits. In other words, although consumers use corporate reputation as a signal globally, low consumer awareness can reduce the effectiveness of reputation signals. For example, with CSR or sustainability that brands use to enhance brand performance, and especially in global markets. So sustainable development is very much required, especially now that it's growing in developing countries, which can definitely help firms and society in general. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to invite Drishti to share her conclusions with us.
Thank you, Sunshine. The concept of the corporate social responsibility and that of sustainable development progressed separately for a long time, and it cannot be clear what relation was between the two. After summarizing the definition and reviewing the development process of sustainable development, it can be concluded that CSR is a business model which promotes business contribution to sustainable development. It creates a balance between economic interests, environmental needs, and social expectation by integrating the spirit of sustainable development into business strategy. The interaction between the conceptions of CSR and sustainable development has supported in the recent years. CSR is considered to be an integral part of sustainable development. Corporate sustainability is the company version of sustainability development, while CSR is a voluntary managerial approach to sustainable development. Corporate responsibility and corporate sustainability can be used as synonyms. Now I would like to call Manjula to speak further to the conclusion part.
Thank you, Drishti, for sharing your opinions and for inviting me. Now, finally, I would like to say that sustainability relates to the reduction of environmental impact through reduction of consumption, that is, reduce, recycle, and reuse. Whereas corporate responsibility includes sustainability, but it relates to the wider relationship between the organization, its key stakeholder groups, and the community. When it comes to building a positive business reputation, and long-term success, it's best to invest in both the initiatives. Now we've come to the end of our debate session. I'd like to thank our tutor, Mrs. Meena Kanal, for facilitating us and guiding us throughout this debate. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Manjula. We have still 10 minutes more to conclude this seminar. So would you like to add something on climate change and sustainable development? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
We have still 10 minutes to go.
Okay, ma'am. there is a dual
Please say
relationship
something
between.
about climate change and development. Please, sustainable development.
Okay, ma'am.
All of you.
There is a dual relationship between sustainable development and climate change. On
Mhm.
the one hand, climate change influences key natural and human living conditions and thereby also the basis for social and economic development. While on the other hand, society's priorities on sustainable development influence both greenhouse gas emissions that are causing climate change and the vulnerability. Climate policies can be more effective when consistently embedded with the broader strategies designed to make national and regional development paths more sustainable. This occurs because the impact of climate variability and change climate policy responses and associated socio-economic development will affect the ability of countries to achieve sustainable development goals. Conservatively, the pursuit of those goals will in turn affect the opportunities for and success of climate policies. Climate change impact on development prospects have also been described in an interagency project on poverty and climate change as climate change will compound existing poverty. Its adverse impact will be most sinking in the developing nations because they are dependent on natural resources and their limited capacity to adapt to climate. They have limited capacity to adapt climate change. Most of the developed countries are more in technology, so they can have economic growth through technology, but the climate change will mostly affect the poor countries in Asia and Africa. So organization should focus on climate change and sustainable development to take all the countries together. Now, within these countries, the poorest who have the least resources and the least capacity to adapt are morely affected. This statement was given by African Development Bank in 2003.
Invite your
Recognize
friends, say something, Ganesh. Invite your
Okay, ma'am.
friends, say something on climate change and sustainable development.
Okay, ma'am. Now I would like to invite my friend to add something on climate change and sustainable development. So whoever wants to add more on this, you can please come and add.
Thank you, Ganesh. I would like to add something to that. Climate change is a very is an ongoing issue which gets discussed by politicians, scientists, conspiracy theories, and activities, and it's for their own reason, and it's meaning something different when using the term. The science that demonstrates a climate change is changing is solid. However, it is difficult to prove that how much of it can be attributed to human behavior. And on the other hand, environmental sustainability refers directly to the effect of human actions on our environment. And human behavior can either be recognized as a sustainable behavior or non-sustainable behavior. And with environmental sustainability, we can conduct impact studies and we can measure results directly. And unlike scientific analysis of global climate change, where scientists have difficulty bringing the results of their studies, in layman's level understanding of environmental sustainability impact, studies can be easily explained. And focusing on environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability is really about preserving the Earth's resources for future generation. And the main dimensions of environmental sustainability are environmental management and human consumption. Environmental management deals with managing the Earth's natural assets such as fresh water system and oceans, atmosphere, land, and etc. Also the management of human consumption. A major driver of human impact on Earth system is the destruction of biophysical resources and especially Earth's ecosystem. Um, the environmental impact of community or of humankind as a whole depends on both population and impact per person, which in turn depends on what resources are being used and whether or not those resources are renewable, and the scale of human activity relative to carrying capacity of the ecosystem involved. Now I would like to invite whoever wants to speak can.
Thank you, Isha, for inviting me. Climate change and sustainable development are inseparable. Climate change is a threat multiplier. It amplifies existing threats, exacerbating problems for the economy, environment, and the society.
Only 1 minute, Manjila. Only 1 minute.
I'd like to share with you 3 points of.
Go on. Please go on. Hello.
Global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius and pursuing 1.5 degrees Celsius helps achieve the most sustainable development goals, but it creates a trade-off. Some sustainable development goals and balancing the goals will be a challenge. Third and the last one, ambitious challenge actions produce new opportunities for the economy, development, and the environment and the society, but these are contingent upon international cooperations, with social justice and equity being core aspect of climate resilient development pathways. Thank you, ma'am. I'll end my debate here.
Thank you for your contribution in this SLS. Now we have finished 2 chapters for Group B, and still I have to conduct 1 more SLS on this topic for Group A that I will do today afternoon. So for the next topic, we will be together again on Thursday class. Okay, please be present on Thursday class. Okay, goodbye and good luck.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
Good.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.